Due to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Well, Adam wants to. We'll deal with that a little bit.
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
What audio equipment needs? What the fuck are you talking about?
Our audio engineer is needing more
Fuck
shit.
Steve.
Shit. All right. So I think we got those levels set. Who wants to start this motherfucker off this week?
All right. Well, since you were bragging about trying to be him, why don't you give us your best DJ intro there, Mr.
Don't put me
Mr.
on the
Head
spot,
DJ.
you sons of bitches.
You know you're hard.
Yeah.
Rock fucking solid, baby. Welcome back to the Tip Rail Podcast. Goddamn right, it is your favorite podcast sitting here in his house tonight. We're going to do it professional style because I'm on the fucking spot. On my right, I have the motherfucker named Big John sitting with me.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop, back from 62. And on the other side, left of me, another motherfucker in this house. You might know him as the one and only Dave.
Hello.
But fucking introducing across the table from me tonight,
Fucking legend.
the fucking
Amazing.
legend, the rock star, the motherfucking voice of the lumberyard, as far as I fucking consider it. Guys, ladies, gentlemen, listeners out in the fucking lands, I welcome and introduce to you the one and only Mr. Matt fucking Nyberg. Thank you, sir. Oh my fucking god, we are literally going to give it up for you tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. What is up?
You guys got the pimp chair and everything.
That's what I'm saying.
here for
Jesus
me?
is literally sitting on my chair.
Yeah, pretty much, man.
Jesus is risen and he's in my house.
I was just sitting here thinking, should I go by the name that you've been using, the Sir Face? But
I spilled the beans. I apologize.
He's a listener.
It got,
there we go.
decided. It got decided for me in the first 10 seconds. So I'm using my name. That's the way it is.
We can always edit.
Yeah, I mean, totally. I could redo that.
We can just monotone. That's Sir Face.
I put all 2 of my fucking testicles and 4 nipples into that motherfucking introduction.
It was too good. Just leave it. Just
all right,
leave
we're
it.
gonna keep it. All right,
Just
fucking.
leave it.
That's fantastic. So, dude, obviously, you know what it is. We sit around and kind of, talk about the fucking strip club industry. So, like, why don't you give us a little bit of your history? Let us know how did you get your start in the club?
Well, I needed a job, and
I think that hits all of us at some point in time.
I had just I'd finished high school, and
Okay.
everything was way different. So this is I
Like
started
fucking
in
1923?
1994.
Oh, okay.
So
All right, yeah.
I went so I got 2 jobs. I walked into Merle Hay Mall, was walking around, and met a guy named Dave Dalton, a special effects artist. And he pulled me in and he said, he saw me walking, and I literally took 3 steps in the mall. And I said, I'm not leaving this mall until I get a job. And so I walked in and I took 3 steps in the mall, and I'm like, what is going on in here? So building some cool shit in here, and they're painting all this stuff. This guy, Dave Dalton, he comes out, scraggly looking guy, looks like the Lord. And he says, hey, you want a job? And I was like, well, yeah.
That's why I'm here.
It's like, here we go.
Isn't it? Shit.
So I was like, all right, so what are we doing? And he's like, I'm building a laser tag arena. And I'm like, fuck yeah, that sounds cool. All right.
Hell yeah.
So with him, I learned how to build laser tag arenas.
Is this Laser X?
Yeah, this was Laser X.
Holy
yeah.
shit.
nice.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't know what that
Don't know what,
is.
have no idea what that
You
is
ever done
either.
Laser X?
No, man. I grew up.
No, I
downtown.
lived in the Quad Cities in
man,
1994.
This is Des Moines lore. Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys
no.
got some shit to talk about.
Oh,
I
why
love
is a
it.
fucking Kool-Aid Man one of those walls?
Yeah. We all did.
Yeah.
So anyways, I started working there, worked my way up in that position. The company that owned that was a company called, there was Century Systems and then Intersphere Laser Games. So I worked my way up in that company, and I was building laser tag arenas, designed a bunch of them, around all over. I mean, Cancun, California, we went everywhere.
Wow.
Built laser tag arenas.
yeah.
So, and in the meantime, I was learning electronics from a guy who worked there named Steve Quest. And then I was learning special effects from this guy, Dave Dalton. Later on, I used that knowledge to go on and build haunted houses and do all that. And then also went on to do a number of bands. But all the while,
Yeah, hell yeah. So
when
long.
doing all this other stuff, this fun shit, I was like, well, I'm a night person. So 94, I was like, I got to go to a strip club. I got to check this out. 18 years old. Laws are different back then. So the first club I ever went into, it was in Ames. I can't remember the name of it. I don't even know if it's still there, but I got a lap dance and it was ridiculous. But so that was the first experience, and I was like,
well, did you like the lap dance for your first experience?
No, I did not.
Okay.
It was well, the reason being is because it was purchased for me as a joke.
So it wasn't like a dancer.
You didn't pick a bad day shift girl.
You didn't get to pick the girl, so it was like
one leg. Fucking.
Well, I got a one-legged stripper story, so we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Yes.
We got quite a bit to talk about. So anyway, so I was like, so I was kind of sour on it at first. And because we went into this club and this guy got me this dance as a joke, my buddy. And so I was like, these strip clubs are kind of gross. Well, then, my buddy's like, no, you got to go to Beach Girls. That's the club. And at the time, there was no Lumberyard. It was Beach Girls.
Yeah, okay.
Beach Girls was the #1 club in town. And I was like, well, there's also a place out on, my second strip club experience was out at the Outer Limits. No, not the, wait, what was it? What was it? Wait. Okay, now I'm getting them confused.
The strip club names either.
No, I know. It was so long ago. So I'm out at the runway. Oh,
fuck.
That was on Army Post Road before it is what it is now.
Oh, okay.
There used to be a strip club out there connected to a music venue.
Oh, okay.
And so we were out there. Stone Sour was playing back when they were just a local band.
Yeah.
Little 80s rock hair, Corey Taylor, And Corey Taylor and myself and my friend Denny, we were all really good friends. We were like, let's go into the strip club next door. Well, I was underage at the time. And you had to be 18 to get in there, or 21. I don't remember. Regardless, I was not 18 yet.
Right. Okay.
So we walked in there, and this was the second time I'd been in the strip club. And here this girl is in there, she's swinging on the pole, and we're like, giggling, these little kids watching this girl. She goes all the way to the top of this pole, and she's dancing to some 80s hair rock song. And all of a sudden, she's upside down, hanging on the pole by her legs, and slips and slides, boom, right on her face.
Ooh,
and
nice.
all three of us went, we all gasped. Then she stands up, bleeding everywhere out of her nose, wipes the blood from her face, leaves the blood running down her tits, and keeps dancing. And all three of us instantaneously, we look at each other and go, yeah! So now I was like, okay, maybe these places aren't so bad after all.
Hell yeah.
So anyway, then I went to the third strip club experience, which was Beach Girls. And gentleman that worked there, I also knew, because back then everyone would go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, big goth show here in town. That's where all the goth kids went.
We had the same thing back home.
Everyone went to Billy Joe's Picture Show. Yeah. So one of the guys that would frequent up there, he also worked there in Beach Girls. And he said, we need another guy in there. Can you come in there and work? And I'm like, fuck yeah. So it was right place, right time, knowing the right guy.
Straight to DJ?
Or straight to DJ.
Straight to DJ.
Okay. So I went in there, and now back in the day, there were two clubs. So there's Beach Girls, and then they had a spillover club called the Foxy Lady.
Yep.
And so my first night was at Foxy Lady. There was about 5-6 girls. I worked an 11-hour shift DJing. It was all CDs. There was no
nice.
All CDs. Man. There was no digital. So it was literally, you had a 6 CD disc changer, and then there was there were 2 single ones. So I was swapping out CDs out of the single one. I was too scared to use the 6 one. I didn't know how to work that.
That's how it was at Tuxedo Show Club in Davenport.
Yeah. You get technical difficulties in the middle of something important. You're just fucking panicking, like, oh my god, no, it's happening right now. Fuck. Yeah, no, I understand. Total.
So playing CDs. I remember working in there. There was the guy that managed the Foxy Lady. So it was the same owners that owned Beach Girls, but Beach Girls back in the day was so busy that they had the spillover club. So when Beach Girls got too busy, or when people needed a little less of a crowd, they'd go down to the Foxy Lady. Foxy Lady had less girls. Well, the problem was most of the girls wanted to work at Beach Girls because that's where most of the money was. It was busier, bigger. Mm-hmm. Foxy Lady was treated as a spillover club. So most of the time, now some girls liked the quieter environment. Some girls did not. So they'd go to Beach Girls to work, and there wouldn't be any girls that would show up to work at Foxy Lady. So the manager would randomly select girls from the rotation at Beach Girls. They're there to meet their regulars and make all this money.
Oh shit! Oh,
and hey, need you to go work it. They'd randomly select names. So imagine some of these girls.
I'd have loved to been able to do that.
Dude,
like, hey, you got to get up. You need to go over here.
So one night, so my first night working, I show up and there's like 3 girls and the manager, he says, yeah, don't worry. They're going to send some more girls from the beach. And I go, oh, okay. They're going to come down. He goes, no. We just randomly select them to come down here. And I go, well, they can't be happy about that. And he goes, oh, they're not. And he kind of laughed. So I'm like, oh, great.
It's kind of like starting the VIP corners.
Yeah. So these girls walk in and they're pissed right away. They're God damn it. And I'm new. So I'm like, so these girls are walking in and I'm kind of waiting for them at the door with a little piece of paper and a pen, get their names and what the music they like. And I'm like, hi, I'm Matt. I'm the DJ. The first girl that walked through said, fuck off, and kept walking. I'm like, oh, okay, this is how it's going to be. Next girl comes in. I'm like, hey, what kind of music do you like? She goes, I don't like music. Kept walking. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a long night. So they were so pissed they were there. So anyway, I started to get to know the girls, get to know what they like, as you do when you're a DJ.
Right.
And then I think it was the second or third night, then I was at Beach Girls. Bigger, busier, and so I was kind of into it right away. So I got to know all the girls pretty quick, what they like to dance with, and all that. And I kind of picked up on it. It was, I was kind of a natural at it. So, but yeah, I had a lot of fun there. Worked there from 94 until 2000, basically till the lumberyard opened. And
is that where you were there?
When did the lumberyard open? I'm not.
Yep.
What?
It was 2000 or was it 2000 or 2001?
I thought it was 2001.
I think it was 2001.
All right. Yeah. See, I'm an out of towner, so I don't really know like exactly. I didn't get there till 2010, so that's the point in time where I knew it at. So but
when I got there, they had been open for 8 years.
Yeah. Yep. So worked there until the lumberyard opened. So the guys that I lived with at the time, I lived with 2 other guys. We all worked at Beach Girls. All 3 of us were DJs at Beach Girls. And then when the opportunity came to go to the lumberyard, one of my roommates, he was working out in Davenport and got to doing some stuff with the owners, construction stuff. And then that's kind of how the lumberyard got going. He said, you should build one of these in Des Moines. And they were like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they already had Dukes going up in Davenport.
Yep. So they came here and they got it open, and that was it. First night, I remember the first girl that walked through the door in the club, and we were sitting there. No.
2x4.
I don't remember.
2x4 tits.
Oh God!
You saw so many dancers from that point in time that you started to the point in time where you were done. No, dude, it was. I understand.
So true story. You remember my notebooks that I kept?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that was my old school. The old DJ that kind of brought me into the business. We're kind of old school in the sense that he goes, you write down every girl that comes in, you write down every song that you play for, you write down what she likes, and you always keep track of what they tip you. The girls that tip you the most, you take care of them the most. It was real old school.
Right, yeah, but it's just like formulating a visual system and a bookkeeping in a sense, you know, basically. So, absolutely. Yep. That's awesome. And
so it was all CDs, and like I said, everything was written down and all that. So I kept every notebook. For all, I think I DJ'd 19 years. I kept every single notebook, and I had it till the final day I worked. I could go back and look at the first notebook that I had with all the original girls.
I remember you telling me that.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
that's fucking awesome.
I tried adding up how many girls I DJ'd for. It was over 4,000.
Jesus Christ.
Hell yeah. It was a long time.
Yeah.
Now, did you only keep records at the lumberyard, or did you do that at Beach as
well?
Nope,
I did at Beach.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
so first day ever, and I had all those notebooks, and there's stacks and stacks of them in my basement forever.
Yeah.
And but I wanted to keep track of that stuff. So, but back in the day, we were at Beach, and we were trying to the manager at the time, who I don't think he's there anymore, but he'd been there forever. He was like, you guys need to spice up what you're doing DJing, because it was originally just, hey, that was so and so. Next up is this person, And he said, you guys got to spice it up.
So more like a radio DJ.
Yes. Yeah. So that's where, and I'm not saying I originated this, but
it's okay. You can take credit, Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah.
So we were kind of sitting there, and this guy that kind of brought me in, he didn't have the best voice. So he did, but he didn't. I mean, he'd talk real fast. You couldn't really understand him. I was very good at projecting my voice. I did a lot of singing and a lot of, so I was always taught project your voice. If there's no microphone, they need to hear you at the back of the room. Project.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you told me one time you had not a singing coach, but a throat coach or throat therapist or something.
Yep. I took vocal lessons.
Yeah, so I don't fucking know, man.
Throat
because after 8 hours of announcing all night long and pushing that voice out and then going to band practice the next day, it was like, oh my God. But so we were like, okay, so we got to be more entertaining. We'll get on stage. We'll make fun of these guys. We'll get them to tip more. We'll do, so it kind of evolved.
Doing that negging, kind of goading the fucking customers, like, fuck you a little bit, that you fucking
like, sorry you missed your song. You're outside smoking a cigarette, douchebag.
Yeah.
So it kind of evolved into this. And then one night it was just kind of, we were laughing because we were exaggerating it, almost like Quagmire, like that 50s, like those 50s commercials. Hey, stop out and get a catalytic converter, like right?
Wacky inflatable flailing tube man.
Yeah. So it turned into that. It kind of evolved into that voice, and it wasn't as exaggerated, but at the same time, it became more of a excited, like, hey guys, come on out, check it out. That's right, tipping. That's right. That's what you get. It turned into that kind of voice. So. And then it just kind of stuck. And then everybody started doing it in town at the clubs. So it's, I don't know. So that's kind of where, and I'm sure there were guys doing it before us. And I know there were, but I don't know.
No, it all started in Iowa.
Everything started
right here in Des Moines.
Well, there were strip clubs long before you were 18 and everything. But I mean, like, but for the area, definitely, I can understand how the influence would have spread for sure. Because, I'm sure you probably experienced that girls kind of migrate from club to club occasionally, and you get different dancers on, if going through 4,000 or so, that's you're going to run across, they're going to go different places, talk to each other, yada, 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 word spreads. So yeah, understandable.
So when it was decided that this lumberyard was going to open up, it was like, oh, we're all going to work there, so the beach girls knew they were going to take a hit. They knew they were going to lose girls. They knew they were going to, and they did. They massive hit, and it was so busy,
so much they did insurance fraud and the other place down, right?
Yeah. Damn. So,
that was.
I don't know if that's real or not. It's hearsay. All hearsay.
The old Foxy lady burnt down, and then there was another club. I can't remember the name of it, but they burnt down on their last day of being open before they closed. I mean, come on, we know what happened there, But anyway, the first day the lumberyard opened, I'll never forget. The main guy that was going to run it, my roommate, he was like, we're forgetting something. I'm telling you, we're forgetting something. It's like hours before we open. We're forgetting something. And everyone's like, no, I think you got everything. And he goes, no, I'm telling you, we forgot something. No furniture in the private dance room. 0. And we were like, oh my God. Shit. Oh, so went home, got all of our furniture, leather sofas, dining room chairs, and all that, brought it up to the club.
Oh, damn.
You should have seen that shit after the first night. Fucking heel holes through all the leather, and it was all trashed, and it was all wrecked. But, we got new furniture bought for us. So
yeah, at Tuxedos, they had the leather couches, and they were always breaking.
Yep.
And fucking we were having to go in there and fix them, fucking half-ass, get them back together.
But back in the day, so I'm kind of jump around a little bit. Sorry.
Oh, don't worry, it's good.
So the girls on that first night, they really pushed me around, and they were really, they were bitches. They didn't want to be there. I get it, but so I made like $50 in tips. You get $10 per girl. There's like 5 or 6 girls. I don't know what it was, but I remember the manager. He says, don't be afraid to tell these girls, search yourself a little bit, or they'll walk all over you. Mm-hmm. And so I was always the nice guy. All the girls in the clubs for all the years will always be like, well, Matt's the nice guy. As I was always nice to him, and I always treated him with a decent amount of respect. But there was one night, I remember when I finally lost it. I'd been at Beach Girls, Foxy Lady for like a year, and this girl she never tipped. She was always bad mouthing me. One night she walked in, and I just snapped. And she walked in one night, and I go, hey, how's it going? I can't remember her name now. And I go, what do you want to hear? And she put her hand out and kind of put it on my cheek. Oh, fuck. And she was like, whatever. And she gave me a little whack, just a little slap. And I'm like, all right, bitch. And it just clicked right then. I'm like, here we go.
Right.
So at the end of the night, she comes up and I'm like, you got a tip for me tonight? And she goes, no, I don't think so. She goes, this is a bad night. I didn't want to be here. And she goes, I don't know, what are you going to do about it? You know, and she's kind of smiling, like we were kind of joking a little bit. She couldn't quite tell. And I'm like, and I didn't say a word. Instead, I picked her up. It was carrying her like a husband would carry a bride. And I walked out the back door, down the beach, onto the dock, and dropped her in the fucking lake.
Nice.
And the manager was dying laughing.
Nice.
Yeah.
So she's flailing around, you know, and the water's only like 3 feet deep, but she's flailing around, she's screaming, and the manager's dying laughing. And she goes, aren't you going to say something to him? And he goes, nope. And I'm like, all right, I can get away with a little bit here. So,
Right, yeah.
And years later, me and that girl, you know, we're friends. We still, you know, we would laugh about that night because, you know, she, you know, I wasn't being malicious, but she was, you know, we were kind of joking, but kind of not, you know.
Yeah.
But
there's a definite line that like the dancers want to assert in the sand, so to speak, you know. So it's like I totally get it. They want to know like how far they can, you know, fuck with you, basically. To you know, like
there was
you know.
one time a girl. I told a girl I'd put her in a trash can, and she said no, you wouldn't. And I
Oh
picked
yeah,
her up
absolutely.
and I put her in a
think I
trash
was there
can.
for that shit. Like,
That's
I'm on my, I stand on my motherfucking business, right? Like this is me, you know. Like I don't know who
back
the
to
fuck-
that girl that fell and did the nose face plant. Were you there at the lumberyard when she did it? Shorter girl, kind of bigger, rode a motorcycle. But she did the whole suicide slam thing where they try to catch right.
I don't think I saw
And
that.
she
I saw it
fucking
so many
faced-
times over the
yeah.
years that
Is that her real name?
no,
blonde?
short brunette rock
Okay.
girl.
Okay.
I knew a few.
Yeah,
yeah, there's
the names get recycled quite often.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
There
talked
was-
about.
This was shortly after we got up there.
Like, what the
Okay.
fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, no, not that.
within
one.
a year after we got up there.
Well, I had to have been there then.
Well, that's
yeah.
it was a. I don't know if it was a Friday or Saturday. I think it might have been a Thursday or something. But you were there. Thursday nights,
Oh, I had to
so,
have been there. Yeah, but dancers would get sent down to Foxy Lady. Well, so would bouncers.
Oh shit.
So
Okay.
so the way it worked there'd be 6 or 7 bouncers at Beach Girls, and then just the manager at Foxy Lady. So Foxy Lady started getting busy. Sometimes they'd send a bouncer down and he'd run the door and kind of keep an eye on things too. So that, and keep in mind, Beach Girls and Foxy Lady also had bars. So you go up and get Jack and Cokes and, you know, full bars.
Okay, people are getting fucking wasty faced then. Okay.
Oh yeah. So if there was ever a fight at Foxy Lady, now picture this. There's little old me there, okay, long-haired kid. And then there's the manager, who is an average sized man. Well, now there's a fight. And he would have to call down the road, a quarter mile down the road to Beach Girls.
Like the telephone?
On the telephone.
Nice.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
No cell phones.
No, yeah, no, I figured.
So he'd call on the phone. The door girl would answer at Beach Girls. Yeah, Beach. Hey, I need you to send the bouncers down. Foxy Lady, we got to fight. So the bouncers would have to come out, get in their cars, drive down to Foxy Lady and stop the fight.
Oh my god.
So one night, this whole bachelor party comes in, and that now, and this is when I've been there a couple years. I'm really starting to get my stride, and I'm really starting to razz some of these bachelors, which I got really good at. Over
Yes,
the
you
years.
did.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
you
your
did.
sacrifice was fucking top notch, bro.
Yeah.
Like absolutely.
I can't tell you how many times I had guys charge the DJ booth and shit like that. But
Dude, I would come, like, people would come out of different areas. Like, if I was in the office, I'd come out and watch a sacrifice.
Oh, yeah,
Or if
it
I
was
was downstairs bouncing, or if I was doing something else, I'd come back inside and fucking watch a sacrifice.
My favorite part of it, realistically, for when I, you know, you were doing it when I was there, was you would get out of the DJ booth and come down onto the fucking like edge of the shower, and like at that point it was Sunrise Melons, aka Forehead. We'll get into was doing the fucking sacrifice for the most part at that point, and you guys had a really good routine and everything.
Because when she tripped and fell into the mirror, she went forehead first.
And I remember you made the little video of her falling into the mirror. I remember that.
I think that's why I got fired.
Oh,
Like,
could be. We don't know.
we don't know. They
yet,
never
huh?
told me.
Classic.
But yeah, like you would come down out of the booth and like be there right on the fucking scene, and just get to fuck that dude up verbally so fucking hard while she's just beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, you're making fucking direct eye contact with this dude
Oh,
while
yeah.
he's getting cans in his ass.
I know. I didn't fuck around. I was like,
I think I do remember one time you taking off and running upstairs shortly, like the dude's like standing up and you knew that he was hot.
Yeah.
And you went running upstairs.
Well, this-
and then like me were at the bottom of the stairs, so we knew he was going to get up and come after you. Like,
there were, because it was a different time where I could say all kinds of racist shit too. Like, I'd say horrible shit to people. If the guy was black, I'd make black jokes. If the guy was Mexican, he'd make Mexican jokes. White, I make white jokes. You know, I'd say anything, and I would justify it as, hey, it's okay with and he's black. You know, so. But
black guy black.
Yeah.
But I'll get to that. But we were so one day at Foxy Lady, I was finally starting to get my stride, and we didn't have a shower stage there. It was just get the guy on stage and the girl dance for him. And I'm making fun of him, and he's drunk and he's pissed, so he gets up, and then all his boys are going to back him up. So there's like 10 dudes. They're all pissed off at me. There's no bouncer. There's just me and the manager. So the manager is trying to corral them all outside. And they're yelling at me, you little pussy, come out here. And I'm like, no, I ain't going out there. So the manager, they start beating on the manager. So it's 10 guys and they're all beating up this one guy. I get on the phone and I call Beach Girls. I'm like, send every fucking bouncer down here right now. So-and-so's getting their ass beat in the parking lot. I looked out that window and I swear to God, in the back of my mind, I could hear, we're not gonna take it. All the bouncers come running out of Beach Girls and they got bats and sticks and brooms and they jump in the cars and go speeding down the road and they jump out of the cars and they're beating up the bachelor party. But right before they got there, one of those bachelors sees me. There's this little window on the front door of Foxy Lady, and I'm looking out like this, like a little kid looking through a peephole in a boat. And he sees me, and he's like, and he goes, "Hey!" And he tries coming in to get me, and I real quick lock the door, and he's like, "Open up!" And he's hitting the door, and I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna do it. No!" And I'm just sitting in there.
Hold on, let me do that. Sorry, let me open the door to get my ass kicked. Hold on.
Yeah, it seems like the most responsible answer.
So the bouncers pull up, and they beat the tar out of all these guys. You know, this is back in the 90s. They beat them all up, and some of these guys were crawling up the road, the gravel road. You know, it's just it was hilarious.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure back then you could really fuck motherfuckers up for doing dumb shit like that, and you wouldn't like have repercussions. I mean, like I saw what we did as bouncers as well. You know, but I mean, like there's just
well, even then we had the sheriffs on our side,
right? You know, exactly.
You keep the police happy, they're going to take your side.
Yeah,
you know,
let them in. Let them see the titties. They just want a free show.
Yeah, they just want to come in at 2:00 and do their bar check.
Yeah.
So but I was there for till the lumberyard over there. And I went to the lumberyard, and then I was my music stuff started to take off. So I was in and out. So I'd be there, you know, like I'd work for I don't know months on end, and then I would be gone for a month, and I'd be doing band stuff, and then I'd come back. So I was in and out. The longest period I was gone for there was like a year. I want to say a year, 9 months period of time where I didn't DJ at all, but we were playing shows almost every single weekend, and I was gone all the time. And it was during that time frame, I think, was that when DJ Andy came, because he was the bathroom guy, and then he came up, and DJ Andy was an exceptional DJ. He was awesome. And
he's a good friend.
He's a good dude, man.
He's been on.
Yeah. I heard some of his stuff. He's great, man. I always love that guy. I haven't talked to him in a long time. I got to get a hold of him. But yeah, so there was a period of time where I was gone, but then we were in between albums. We were not touring, then I was back. And the band that I was in, Face Cage, got, we weren't world famous. We weren't, I don't even think that wouldn't even call it nationally famous. We were more, we were getting played on XM radio. And at the beginning of the XM days, we were on XM radio. We were on, the local station, of course, were playing us. But we had pretty good, we were, I'd say, regionally famous, where we intentionally did not sign record labels because there was a shift in the music industry when MP3 started coming out and the record deals got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And the days of the 80s rock
that's where you opened up your own record label timing.
Yeah.
Too. Yep. Yeah. Where everybody was like, screw it, we're just going to open up our own label.
Yes. Yeah. And so we started realizing these offers that we were getting were not good long-term offers. Like they were good for the short term. Being a rock star now is a young man's game. You're traveling.
The only way you make money is on the road. Is basically what it is.
And you don't make money. Oftentimes, you got to do it for 20 years before you start making money. Yeah. The bands, and the only way to make real money, you get that Metallica money where you own everything. You own your management. Everything that they own.
They own the busing company that they tour with. They own the semi trucks that carry their stages. Right. They own everything.
Yeah. So the business was shifting from those giant record contracts into, the record labels are losing money with MP3s, so they had to make money by no longer were bands getting deals like 100% merchandising. Slipknot got the last big deal, I think. I mean, there were deals that came after that for other types of music, but I think as far as rock music go, they probably got one of the last big deals. They maintained 100% of their merchandise, which is
I just remember because I'd heard of Slipknot, heard a couple of their songs, and I remember seeing them on Sopranos. The dude was wearing the fucking Slipknot
that was a big
jacket.
deal.
And I was just like, I know that fucking band, and they're from Iowa. I'm in Illinois. That's fucking awesome. They're on Sopranos.
Corey thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
So the music stuff where we got regionally famous, we were like, if we signed something, we could get on the road and be playing 9 months out of the year. But at the end of the day, we'd get home, we'd be making, I don't know, 40 or 50,000 a year, which is good money, but I'm making more money working at the club doing my haunted houses and doing, all this other stuff that I'm a part of. So we decided let's stay regionally famous. Let's keep doing what we're doing. We're accumulating this giant following in Des Moines, Omaha, all the surrounding states where we could go do these shows. And a lot of the shows were sold out, and we didn't even have a record label.
Nice, dude.
And Corey Taylor from Slipknot actually produced one of our records, so I learned a lot from him working in the studio. He's a longtime friend, so. But I learned a lot from him. So music has always been a passion of mine. But all the while doing all these things, we always kind of joked that I used the club to fund all my extracurricular activities.
Yeah, basically.
With bands and haunted houses and all that stuff.
Bringing you the best of the Midwest of that underground entertainment, it's 213 Productions. Get those dollars out, down, and ready to party because we got plenty in store for you here on The Tip Rail. Like and follow us on all the social medias for the most up-to-date info about this show. You can get in contact with us, thetiprailpodcast@gmail.com. And now, back to the show.
So, but as things progressed in the club, and I think it was in 2004 or 5 when I was the other night DJ was in there, and he was a big pillhead. And I love the guy, but man, he had he had major addictions, and it really was affecting his work. And he was slurring his words so bad one night, and it was horrible. So I'll never forget, we're on the balcony overlooking the stages and everything, and the manager who was in there at the time, who was the best manager to ever manage that place, he said, we were sitting there watching him down there slurring his words and staggering around, and he looked at me and he goes, "I need you to clear your schedule." And I said, "What for?" And he goes, "Because I'm just going to need you in here every night." And I go, "I can't work every night. I got my band. And he goes, "Look, do you want to make money or not?" And I said, "Well, I make money now. I make good money now." And he goes, "Well, now you're going to make money every night." And I was like, "I don't want to work every night." But he goes, "You're the man now." And he goes, "You were the man, but now you're just the only guy in here." And he goes, "You're going to work 5 nights a week." And I was like, "All right." So he fired him, and then it was just 5 nights a week, and that was I had to fight to take nights off to go do shows and to do any touring. It was always me, and but at the same time, that manager at the time was very supportive, and he's like, "Hey man, if you have to go do this show for 10,000 people, you have to go, but I need you at the club the next night," but we got along really good. But so then it was right around that time when I kind of how do I say this without sounding big-headed, but I kind of started to feel like I am at the top of my game doing this.
Right.
And I almost felt like I was almost untouchable, so to speak, because I would go to other clubs and watch their DJs, and I was like, these guys really aren't any good. And the amount of and at the same time, the manager that was there at the time was the best manager of any strip club I'd ever seen. And he wasn't the most honest, there was theft going on.
Right. Yeah.
I made it a point very early on working in that club. I said, I never want to touch the money.
Yeah, I remember you always saying that.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with any of the money. And very rarely did I ever step foot behind the front desk. I didn't want any. I didn't even want to go back there.
Right? Yeah. You can't be blamed for anything. Then it's not your problem. Not at all.
I wanted to have my hands clean of it. So, but it was right around that time when he was so good at promoting. So he would say, "Hey, we're gonna drive. We're gonna rent buses, and we're gonna drive a bunch of our dancers to Ponderosa Sun Club, which is a nudist colony." And he goes, "We're going to go there they have a festival there every year called Nudes A-Poppin'. We're going to take all the girls." And I mean, all of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, what's the point?" And he goes, "Because we're going to roll in there with the most amount of girls and we're going to impress everybody." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what's this going to do?" And he goes, "Well, Cherry Magazine is up there, the Biggins and all these, porn magazines."
He goes, "They're all porn distributors, pretty much."
Yeah. So
Ash Dragon.
Yeah,
he's up there for sure. He's always there.
He's always there.
He's in some dark corner with a camera, ready to get your virginity.
Around, zooming in on buttholes.
Whatever.
That was his deal, man.
Yeah.
So and this is just an example. One of the things he was so good at, he'd say, "Well, we're going to roll into this place and we're going to have the most amount of girls and get the most attention." And by God, he was right. We went to this place, and the other clubs would go from all over the Midwest, and they roll in with 5-6 girls. We rolled in with 40. Shit, and everyone's like, "Holy shit, like, what is this? The Lumberyard? Never heard of it." Mm-hmm. And real quick, the Lumberyard was almost called the Store.
Oh, fuck.
And we were going to give every guy that left a gallon of milk to take home. And so
I get it.
So that way they'd come home and they'd say to their wives,
"I was at the store."
And they'd be like, "You went to the store for 4 hours and all you brought home was a fucking gallon of milk?" And they'd go, "Yep." I'm telling the truth.
What was the slogan? Just you get a gallon of milk, or?
No, we didn't have a slogan. Okay. It was,
because I don't know if you know this, but if you go on the internet and you look up names for strip clubs, you'll come across a list by E-Bomb World. And the number one strip club name is the Lumberyard, where real men go to get wood.
Yeah.
And then they have the other 24 behind them.
Wow. So it is not, when you say it's world famous, it's literally world fucking famous in a way.
Because it's on the World Wide Web.
I mean, in a way, we had
foreigners that would come in.
Tons and tons
Des Moines brings in a lot of insurance people.
People that would come there. And the shows in town, everybody fucking came to the Lumberyard. Even I experienced that. And I was at the decline of the good times, and I'm even told by the dancers when I started there that, this isn't, it used to be way better than this. It used to be way more fucking popular. And I'm just like, dude, I don't know. There's fucking 300 to 400 fucking people standing around all getting excited and spending money. I think this is dope as fuck.
Right.
Like that first Halloween costume contest that I don't remember the costumes or any of the fucking thing like that. I just remember the experience standing up in the VIP corner. The whole fucking place is packed and you're up there judging everybody on the fucking stage. So that's, again, a favorite memory of mine as what I see as the club operating in its optimal fucking fashion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
it was it was a time, man. And we'd have these he was so good, that old manager was so good at coming up with ideas like that. So the oil wrestling, the oil wrestling I think was my idea, but me and him would just spitball ideas off each other, because he kind of told me, he goes, "I may be the manager of this club, but but we're both going to be the face of the club." Mm-hmm. And that's what I think the club was.
So that's what happened.
Yeah.
They put your face on everything.
So yeah, that's why I went downhill.
Yeah, right.
So he said, but these clubs need a representative when they go do this stuff, and he was very good at that. But he was like, you need a ringmaster.
Yeah,
you need a ringmaster. You need a ringmaster. And he goes, the girls can't do it because they're the act.
Yeah.
And he goes, but you need a ringmaster, just like the circus, exactly. And
that's what it is. It's a naked circus.
It's fucking insanely accurate.
And he, but he was so good at that stuff. So we went into that Nudes A-Poppin', and all of a sudden, here's Hustler magazine, Cherry magazine, all these famous people are like, "Holy shit, who is this club that brought all 40 of these girls up here?" Well, now all these photographers and all these places are like, "We got to go check out this place called the Lumberyard in Des Moines, Iowa. We didn't even know it was there." And then, so all these people start showing up. They start hearing about this club. They want to come out there. They want to take pictures, and they step foot in there, and it was very impressive. It was so big. And they're like, "Wow, massive. This is crazy." And it was just so busy all the time because back then it was must see. The buzz on the street was insane. We got to go to the club. And originally it was open till I think 3, then it was open till 4.
How did you guys do
5.
it? Because like when we got there, we expanded the parking lot.
Yeah.
How the fuck did you guys do it?
Oh, dude, they were
like, because I remember the cops hated that part because there's cars parked everywhere up there.
Yeah,
and like there weren't supposed to be, and they had that one side street that fucking ran behind the truck stop.
Dude, there were cars parked down the road, like half mile down the road.
With, bum guards or whatever, or the
guys would walking up the highway to get in there. I mean, it was insane back in the day.
People would come from across the lands to the fucking lumberyard.
They had to travel.
I mean, shit, yeah.
So all these magazines, all these people start showing up, and then he follows it up, and he's like, "Fuck, we're getting all this attention." So he decides he's going to host Miss Nude Iowa. So he has Miss Nude Iowa, and he buses in all these famous people to be there and judge it and do all this stuff. And he was very good at building it up, and it kind of had this mystique, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, the lumberyard, it's massive." And me and him were right there the whole time, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And the girls, the girls were very good at what they did. They were good at going with the flow and like really putting on a show too. It was a money making time. I've never seen a place make so much money that was so unchecked. The owners are absolutely incompetent. So
no, I mean, because we did 1.6 like the 2 years before I was done. Like we did 1.6 because I can only imagine what you guys were pulling then.
Oh
back
my
then.
God, it was,
like,
and this was back in the day.
That was 1.6 a year. So I mean, like you guys are probably hitting 2.6 or 3.
There was one weekend where
dumb money for those fucking assholes.
Oh my God, there was one, and that's the and I'll talk about that later. The absolute sheer incompetence of the people that own that place. They are absolutely the most despicable people, and the management that's there now. They're quite horrible. I mean, it really does.
Get it out, Matt. Get it out. Let it flow.
Let it flow like those long, luscious locks you have.
You really have to be. I mean, you have to sit in awe and watch someone take something that's this money-making machine,
recession-proof, basically. Like it's going to be like the last industry that would go down in apocalypse because that dudes always want to see naked girls.
Yep.
Like they will trade for it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you want my fucking pets? You want my rabbit furs?
You want my pelt?
Yeah, right.
So I had. So anyway, all these events going on in the club, and then we were like, well, what else can we do? Well, how about oil wrestling? We'll get girls and fucking wrestle in oil. Everybody loves wrestling, and now you have naked ladies oil wrestling. How are we going to do that? And I'm like,
wrestling incites the right fucking mindset.
And it was on middle. It was on middle stage.
It was on middle stage, and
you guys like took out the pole,
literally built a ring, basically a box. And then we got foam padding, wrapped it in plastic, and just poured Crisco in there. And then we would be
fucking lard.
And it was straight up lard for the pigs.
Okay.
I mean,
you know what? I mean, fuck it. You could probably reuse it, sell it to a fucking deep fryer.
Dude, sell it to Taco Bell.
So we did the oil wrestling, and I'll deep dive some of this stuff as we go here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So we did the oil wrestling, and that brought about some of the funniest stuff I'd ever seen. So that got so big that we were actually taking that to other strip clubs. So we went to Missouri and did it out there with a strip club, and we partnered up with a strip club out there. There was a guy that owned that club that used to be a wrestler. And so he was into it. He was doing ring announcing. I was doing ring announcing for it. And these girls are wrestling around. And one night we decided they were going to have a first blood match. And we made them blade. So they were sticking razor blades. Their head were bleeding and oil wrestling. It was fucking amazing.
That's awesome. They were down to do that. That's fucking so fresh.
So and then we started bringing in special guests. So we actually had the honky tonk man come.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Here comes the honky tonk. I picked the honky tonk man up from the airport. This motherfucker comes out in his Elvis suit off the fucking plane.
Ready to
shows up in character.
I see him come out and I just immediately start laughing. I'm like, this is going to be the best weekend of all time. The fucking honky tonk man.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And he gets in the car and I'm like, and I didn't know what to say at first. I was like, hey, Honky. I called him Honky. I didn't even know his real name. So then that was another thing. It was around that time where when we start doing all this extra stuff that he's like, we're going to bring in feature entertainers. And it was like a once a month thing. And he goes, no, now we're going to do it every 2 weeks. So he'd bring in porn stars and feature entertainers once every 2 weeks. And he goes, you're going to be the one to pick them up, take them to the club, make sure they have what they need, take them back to their hotel room and do all this stuff. And I'm like, all right. And he goes, well, it's only natural. You're the DJ. You take care of them when you're here, and they'll tip you at the end of the time.
Right,
so I got to know a lot of these porn stars and these feature entertainers. I'd pick, and it was always the same hotel on Merle Road. They stayed there. I'd come and I'd say, I'll pick you up at 8, take them to the club. They get ready. They do their shows sporadically throughout the night, 3 or 4 performances.
Yeah, I worked with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they would do their, she would borrow my snake.
Yeah.
That was my snake. So I'd pick up these features. So I started rubbing shoulders with some of these stars. And then we started, I get to meet this, I'll leave her name out of it, but she's like, yeah, I'm looking, do you know any editing companies? I need all of my porn edited. And I was like, well, we actually own a recording studio. So we started editing pornos for these people too.
Exactly.
So it was, we just started, we had our fingers in so many pies.
They sold porn downstairs?
Well,
and dildos or whatever?
There was a porn shop for a while before there was a VIP room, and that was interesting. Originally that was a storage closet. There's
been a lot of things.
Closet.
Yeah.
There's a fuck closet.
There was a lot of stuff. So, anyway, all these special guests, porn stars, feature entertainers and all that. So I got to meet all those people. And it was around 2006-ish. He was gone. That manager had just burnt himself out at promotion. But at this point, the club had built itself up into this juggernaut of, it was now just existing. It was promoting itself. Yeah. And a lot of these things that he did, the new manager after him, it was, and I was kind of co-manager with him, and he'd say, look, you do these things now and you organize these, and I'll just, okay, whatever you need to do. So I kept some of it going. I knew that the pinnacle, I knew that we had really done something special when I was in Dallas, and Vinnie Paul sent a limousine to pick me up from my show and take me to his strip club.
Oh, okay.
To hang out with him.
Yeah.
And he sent it to pick up the face cage lumberyard guy. That was the quote. And I was like, I
fucking made it, bro.
Yeah,
fucking made it, man.
I was like, fuck, I made it.
Yeah. And Paul knows my name.
Yeah. So I go to and literally went in there and sat. And he owned the clubhouse in Dallas, and met him multiple times. Every time I was down there, I'd go to the clubhouse, and they'd have me introduce me as the lumberyard guy and the face cage guy. That was my thing. So then I'd sit back there with him, and first night I walked in there, he's sitting back there with the guys from Hell Yeah. I don't think they were Hell Yeah at the time. I think it was Mudvayne. Yeah. So they're in there, a couple other musicians, and I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy. Like all the way down in Dallas, Texas. Another guy that started coming around, Dennis Hoff, the owner of the Bunny Ranch in Las Vegas.
Yeah. Okay.
So the old manager was doing a little business with him. Well, Dennis Hoff started flying to Des Moines to recruit girls from the lumberyard to go out to Las Vegas and work. So Dennis is in the club, and he sees me working, and he goes, I want to offer you a job in Las Vegas. And I said, well, what am I doing? He goes, you're in Des Moines. And he goes, I can get you a job out there at the big, I don't remember what it is now. And I was like, well, what would I make? And he goes, you work 50 times harder than the DJs in Vegas. The girls there aren't allowed to talk to the DJs. They're
what the fuck?
Yeah, they're literally, so the DJs are isolated in a box. They work 6 hours. They make $1 million a year. Jeez. And I was like, are you shitting me? And he goes, yeah, the tip requirement's like $20 a night per girl, where they get 400 girls. And I thought about it for a little bit, but I was like,
I would have fucking.
I was like,
gone.
I know. I was like,
don't even need to pack. I got my underwear. I'm good.
Yeah, but I had my family and friends were very important to me. My band was very important to me, and I felt like
you guys could have re-registered and been out of fucking Vegas.
I know.
For $1 million a year.
That's a whole new region.
I know.
Whole new reason to take over.
Iowa does captivate you though. Like I feel like it's got me by the fucking balls. You know, like I cannot fucking get out of here. You know, even though I want to, but I mean, like it's just I understand totally.
I got 6 more years.
It was 18 hits, man. I'm going to fucking. We're moving.
So Dennis Hoff is up there a lot, and again, he's like, so now I'm getting job offers in Vegas, and I'm like, God, this is really something. I've done something special here. So time goes on. He's in there managing for a while, and then basically I was the manager for a while, but wasn't getting any credit for it, which was fine. I didn't need credit for it. I didn't care about that.
It's okay. Let it out. That's what we're here for. Let it out.
And the girls. I made it a point. Okay, so I was in this weird position to where I started working in the club so early that by the time it got to be mid 2000s, I don't know, like the club was so busy that I didn't have time for like any misbehaving in the club. Like there was no time for me to do drugs or be drunk on the job. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do it. It was just I was doing 30 sacrifices on a Saturday.
Dude, I used to day shift DJ and that fucking shit was too busy for me.
Yeah.
Day shift.
There's only 4 fucking people and 6 titties, John. Come on, man.
And there was, but we had so many celebrities coming in there and so many people like around that time frame. And I was kind of, I was making sure all of them were taken care of. And I remember one day I was in there and here's the, what's his name from the Insane Clown Posse. He's just sitting down there. Nobody's talking to him. Nobody knew who he was.
Fucking Joe Bruce.
In there chilling out. People always mention Pauly Shore, you've been in there a bunch, but I can't tell you how many famous people that I personally catered to in there. And a couple of them I even took back to their hotel. They couldn't get a taxi. They'd stay there till closing. I'm like, I'll give you a ride, But a lot of them, and I ran into one time in Missouri. I'll get to that another time. But lots of there's too much to tell.
There is. There's absolutely too fucking much though, dude. Like,
but you're about mid 2000s.
Yep. So I'm kind of working my way. I'm giving a brief overview through the timeline, and then we can kind of jump back.
Absolutely. No, because like I said, we've got to cover so much of everything, and so
I'm Wilford Brimley, and I'd like to treat you to an ice cream, an apple pie, and diabetes. Diabetes. I'd like to treat you to diabetes. Actually, I'm surrounded by diabetes. Now, one of the things I've learned to do is laugh at people with type 2 adult onset diabetes. And you ought to be laughing at people with type 2 adult onset diabetes every 15 or 20 minutes. I went to see a doctor. And I think the most important thing he said to me was, Wilford, I'm going to give you diabetes. Wilford, if you want to get type 2 adult onset diabetes, I'm going to give you type 2 adult onset diabetes. And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly the way it's been. Now, I'm not perfect, and I've eaten ice cream and apple pie and ice cream and my medicine and people with diabetes.
Anyway, so all these, all this stuff is going on. Well, then it was right about that time where it was right when you guys came.
No.
So the club had started to, I want to say it seemed like it was plateauing. Yeah. So the manager,
there was somebody like stealing and shit, right? There was like theft, and like
by the time that the good guy who built everything,
theft.
He had left, and then I know the other guy that we came and fired.
Yes,
he was stealing a lot.
Yeah, he was. I don't know if he was stealing, but I know that there was another guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he was stealing. I know about another guy stealing. And here's the thing:
wasn't it his brother or something?
Yep. And here's the thing: I would have told the owners. But through all of my years working there, rubbing shoulders with getting...
They don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah, getting limos sent for me, getting all
There'll
this.
There'll be another guy there next week.
I met them, I think, twice in all these years working for them. And so, and again, I'll get into the way I feel about those guys.
Right.
So... And then it was right about that. Everything kind of seemed to plateau. Some of these guys that were in there, they seemed like they didn't care. You knew there was theft going on, but I couldn't tell anyone about it. One night, I kept telling them, you need to upgrade these speakers. I mean, you need to upgrade the sound system. It's going to fail. And he just kept ignoring it. And I go, look, I need new speakers in here. I need new equipment. Finally, one night, it all blew up, literally exploded. So he sent a guy to Best Buy and bought the biggest boombox that they had, set it on top stage, and I sat on the top stage
I heard
and
story.
DJ'd with a book of old school style with a book of CDs on the top
throwback.
stage. And all I had was my metal CDs from my car.
Right.
So I'm like, every bitch getting metal tonight. So I sat there and at the top of my voice, I'm DJing in this. You picture how busy that club was. And I'm no microphone. The sound system was fried. So I'm like, all right, guys, I'm yelling. And so anyway, they got a new sound system and all that. So there was just a lack of maintenance. There was a lack of cleanliness.
Still to this day, there is trouble getting things done in that fucking club.
Oh, yeah.
Like my guy's the fucking head DJ, assistant manager currently, so like, yeah, totally relatable, understandable for sure.
I couldn't get shit done.
In comparative, if they took care of it, it's pennies compared to what they could make and keep making.
They're
just bad owners.
It literally,
period.
I called it like, it's like at the point I could see it, I was like, I'm inside of a fucking whale. Like this thing had become such a big fucking encompassing thing, and I'm watching it rot from the fucking inside because
literally
there's fucking damage to everything, and it just keeps getting worse and worse, and it's flooding on the third stage, and there's fucking mushrooms growing out of the walls and shit.
It had been flooding down by the third stage for years.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it started long before I got there, but like
running down the back.
It's a natural waterfall.
Yeah.
Like anybody that has gone there on a rainy fucking night knows the fucking experience, I'm sure. But I spent many hours mopping that fucking shit up, thinking like, my God, we could just clean the gutters, because that's literally what it is. It's taking care and maintenance of the fucking place. That's a general business upkeep, and it just doesn't make any goddamn fucking sense to me why they didn't run it in a fashion that, like,
the dude was $300 and he would cover basically from spring to winter,
right?
And he'd clean out the gutters, he'd maintain the roof, he would do everything, and they were like, no.
Meanwhile, the roof is leaking like a sieve.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Oh, even when it got real bad, the DJ booth right there with the new DJ booth. Would rain right there.
Oh,
I remember it got fucking when it gets bad.
It's like being allergic to money. Jesus.
Right? They just wanted to keep it. That's
gross negligence.
They didn't want to spend any of it. They didn't want to do nothing. Like if we even went to spend anything, like we'd get emails like, "Why are you spending this money?
Like, why are you doing this?
Why are you doing this?" Well, because this is falling apart. This is breaking.
Like your club can't operate.
People are falling down the steps, so we're trying to get
fucking
things to keep them from falling down the steps. No, you can't spend money like that.
Yeah.
Like.
So then it was it was so bad, know. So there was this, you had guys. Ultimately the guy that was in the club, I was kind of promoting everything, doing everything to the best of my ability, and then the guy that was ultimately in charge, but was kind of letting me do everything except for the money. Again, I never touched the money. You guys came, and I was like, finally, and then everybody got fired. And initially, he came in. He said, "Yeah, you're fired." And I was like, "I'm fired?" And he said, "Yeah, you're fired." And my initial response was, I wanted to go, "I'm fired. You're fired. Come on."
Like, yeah, fuck
and
you, buddy.
So the guy that what do you guys call him? The head
pastry
guy?
chef.
Well, who's the other one? The other
Demon.
one.
You can pick his real name. You can,
So
Demon,
2 and 2. So Demon comes in, and I go, and he goes, and I go, you're kidding me. And he goes, yeah, we're just gonna start fresh. And I was like,
did they drug test you?
Yes,
because that's what Andy
I told
said.
him. I said I don't do it.
Wild, dude.
Yeah, and I said
I never got drug tested.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't do anything. And he goes. And I'll never forget. It was the first day that you guys came. It was a Tuesday.
It's always a fucking Tuesday. See what I'm fucking saying?
Anyway. Merch incoming.
So it was. I think it was a Tuesday.
It was a
Monday.
Okay, yeah, it was a Monday because
you probably weren't working because you didn't work Sunday and Monday.
I didn't work Sunday and Monday.
Yeah.
So Tuesday, and I said, Demon, am I working tomorrow? I mean, my shift is tomorrow. And he goes, look, Matt, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not firing you. And he goes, you're the only one I'm going to keep. And he goes, I'm going to, but just
have to
just
put
take
you
a
through the
drug
paces,
test. And
blah, blah,
he goes,
blah,
I
blah.
got to go through the motions. And I was like, all right. So it was ridiculous. And I said, I've never smoked weed in my life. I've never done any of that. And I don't have anything against it. I've just never done it. And he goes, well, just take the drug test. And I was like, all right. So I did that, and it was fine. Mm-hmm. And then I was back to work Wednesday. So then I get and I'll never forget.
How wild was Tuesday night? Like just sitting at home with all the fucking social media was kind of.
I sat at the club.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was like, I'm not letting because I was like, I'm not getting shuffled out of here. You know, I'm not. I wasn't ready for that. So then I get, and I'll never forget when I was like Wednesday night. I came into work and I was the first guy back. And I'll never forget, I came in and you were standing there and you were like, you got a job. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, all right, here we go. So I was like,
sounds about right. Sounds about right.
What about that team support?
I was like, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Me and you always got along.
Oh, yeah.
So then here comes, now I get to start working with the pastry chef a little bit. This guy, right off the bat, I'm like, holy shit, this guy. He comes up and he goes, "Why? First day, and I just talked to him a little bit."
You.
Yeah, like, critiquing me.
Oh, yeah. I guarantee it. Because he's the master from Dukes.
And I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, I'm the best ever. But I know when I'm better than someone, and when someone is trying to come and tell me how to do my job, when it's like, come on, dude. Yeah. And this guy comes in and starts talking to me about music, and the first thing I'm thinking is, this flaky asshole has the musical taste of a 13-year-old girl. Like the music he's telling me to play is preposterous.
Well, he is kind of filled with cream.
Yeah,
I'm like, why do you want me to play this? And he goes, oh, dude, it's hot. It's the latest thing. And I go, but nobody wants to hear that. And he goes, dude, it's awesome. You got to change it up a little bit. And I was like, well, I'm all for changing things up, but this stuff you want me to play is really bad. And I go, that being said, you're the boss. I said, you want me to play this? I'll play it. But I'm telling you right now,
he was all about the top 40.
Oh my God. Bullshit. It was so bad. And I'm like, look at the audience right now.
Was that him or was that his significant other that was like piping that shit?
No, it was him. I'm pretty sure. The things he said to me when I was playing some regular in the top 40 type shit about the type of music, So like he was very controlling, and
I'd play some of those songs, and I'd see him down there doing the white boy shuffle to it, like getting it, and everyone else is like, "What the fuck is playing right now?" Like, no, and then the girls are upset because they're all used to working with me and
the whole vibe had changed, so it's like,
so it took some getting used to, and I'm not saying every decision he made was dumb, but most of it was pretty dumb. And then he starts trying to do certain things and certain ideas. And I'm like, look, we've done this before, and what you're thinking of doing did not work when we tried it before.
So he didn't bother to even step in and ask what has been done in the past.
The guy who's been doing it
just coming in like, fucking stupid.
Shooting from the hip.
Cool, fuck it.
It was just him doing it, and I'd be like, look, I disagree with all of this, and I would always let him know how I feel, and I'd be like, that being said, you are the boss, and I will do this to 100% of my ability to promote this and do what you need to be done. But I'm telling you right now, this is probably not going to work because we've tried this before, and it didn't work when we tried it before.
The politest middle finger.
Yes. and so, when the club opened, it was $20 for private dance, and the club took nothing. There was no box downstairs that took money from the girls. It was always $10 minimum tip to the DJ. The bouncers were owned by a
private security company.
Yep. The guy that owned them was really cool. I'm still friends with him to this day. But he would be in charge of, he would supply the bouncers to
That's how it was in Dukes, where I came from.
Yeah.
Worked for a guy named
And so then the DJs used to get paid an hourly rate plus their tips.
Yeah, that's how it was with us.
So I was sitting there going, there's a lot of money here. And then I think the owners kind of caught on, okay, we don't need to be paying these DJs an hourly rate. So at that point in time, when our hourly rate got taken away, I said, well, I'm not going to leave my CDs up here for everybody to use. And I'm not going to. So I had my own hard drive with my own music.
Yeah, I remember you bringing it in.
Yeah. And so I'd come up with my own hard drive, my own stuff. And so sometimes the day DJ didn't have the same music as the night DJ.
Yes.
And I'd be like,
ran into those problems sometimes.
That's the way it is, man. So then, the pastry chef said, no, get an external hard drive. I'll copy mine over. And he did give me a lot lot of MP3s that I didn't have, which was cool.
I think it was like the Holy Bible is what I remember the folder being called, you know, and so like, you know, there was, I mean, like I ended up digging a lot of that music that was in there, to be honest. Like I heard it all the time and I was just kind of like, all right, well, you know, now I like this shit, you know?
Yeah.
So for the time being, at least, you know, I can't even remember what the fuck was actually in the actual folder, but
so he would come with, but okay. So anyway, the $20 for private dance. Then it was $25. Then the club's like, oh, we're going to take $5 for each dance being done. So then it was the old manager at the time, the one that was really good at promotion. He'd say, I want you to cut every song to 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, that's pretty short. Are you sure about that? Why not make it even 3 or 3:15? And 2:45 seems really short. And he goes, let's try it at 2:45 for a while. So 2:45. I'm fading out song after 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So the girls are down in the private dance room doing this private dance. The club is getting $5 for every girl that's in that private dance room every 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Mm-hmm. So, and I couldn't keep up. It was just not enough time. I'm sitting here, you know, I'm announcing a girl, starting the song, and there was no pause. It had to go. It was constant fade out.
Fucking pissed.
No, it was horrible. And one night I peed in a bottle. I'm not even kidding you. I was
just pissed in the corner.
Pre-Amazon. You're the original Amazon guy.
You should have crazy right over the fucking ledge.
Yeah. It was insane. So
that's fucking wild.
I was like, that's a bit too much. So then it ended up being 3. I think it ended up being between 3 minutes and 3:30. He goes, just cut it in there, you know, and then 10 seconds of talking and then go. So it became very fast paced in that time frame. And then working in shower sacrifices and the amount of girls when it made that shift, I think it was like 2006 or something like that. So it was right around the time when the club was getting to its peak, I think, in popularity and celebrity status and all that. So very fast paced. I'd leave and then everybody's in there smoking still. Mm-hmm. So there was this haze at the end of the night. I mean, we had thousands of people go through that club. There's a haze in the crowd. I'm coughing at the end of the night, just sitting up top in that DJ booth, breathing all that cloud,
all that hot
toxic
air
shit in. Yeah. Oh my God. My vocal cords would just be fried, you know, and so it was so fast paced. 30 shower sacrifices, 120 girls. I mean, it was just chaos.
That's fucking insane.
It was nuts.
So max girls you had on their best Friday or Saturday night, what was it?
I think the most I ever had, I want to say it was 100. I think it was 125.
In that small ass dressing room up there?
Yep. And it
That
was
must have been over the weight fucking.
And that was before we remodeled it.
Yeah.
When they had the feature room.
Yep.
Wow.
So
Jesus Christ.
the one night
fucking sardines, bro.
Yeah. A lot of tampons and fucking flying across the room. Jesus.
Dude, it was chaos. I mean, it'd be so packed in there. And to the girls' credit, a lot of them figured out how to make it work. That was back when
less is
a lot
more.
of the girls really got along back then. There wasn't a lot of fighting in the dressing room. The staff got along really good. It was a well-oiled machine.
But
it was so fast-paced. It was go, go, go. Make that money. And
gotta get that hustle and just like, let's go.
And I remember one weekend where we had to go to the studio Sunday morning after working all weekend to edit porn. And we were sitting there, and the manager came up to the manager that was really good at promoting. He came with us because he had a hand in it too. And then we were editing oil wrestling DVDs. And we're sitting there, and he actually brought all the money the club made that weekend because he had to count it all. Oh, Jesus, and he had to get all these ones ready. And I'll never forget, we're sitting there at the computers and we're doing voiceovers for this, you know, this oil wrestling thing and all this. And he's sitting there counting money, and he had over $180,000 sitting there on the table. And I'm like, how much money is that? And he said, it's about 180. And I'm like, $180,000? And he goes, yeah. And I go, how many days of the club is that? And he goes, I don't know, a few. I was like, holy shit. Right. I was like, that is crazy. I never and the place where we're at, the guy that partial owner of the studio, he was all nervous that all that money was in there, and he's like, I think he should leave and take that money with him. That's like he was worried. It's like Scarface money or something.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, like that is an intense amount of money. I've never seen anything like that, so that would fucking shock me as well. Dude, I think. Yeah,
that was, and I mean that was the heyday, man. I mean, it was crazy. And So the very fast pace, and then the club all of a sudden decides, oh, now we're going to take $10 from the girls. And I'm like, now you're starting to get greedy here. You're losing money in other aspects due to poor management. So you're going to take more from the girls. I don't know about that. And then, and then you guys came. I always got along with you. Demon, I mean, I don't really necessarily have too much of an opinion on him until a little later. He kind of falls into the scumbag status too, in my opinion, because it was around, fundamentally disagreeing with most of the business decisions that they made, but it wasn't my place. I was the DJ. Times were changing. Yeah. So I could tell that there was a fundamental shift in the business coming. You could just tell. I'm like, okay, it wasn't just because of the staff that were there. There was this old school mentality of, that a girl walks in and gives you $100 bill and says, don't put me on stage tonight. I'm going to be in the private dance room all night making money with my regulars. Yep. And I'd be like, all right, you're not going to go on stage. So this girl would go down in the private dance room. Well, now she's in the private dance room making $15 a song, and the club is making $10 or $5 or whatever it is off of her for every song. Right. The appropriate thing to do to make the club the most amount of money is leave her there. Yeah. And let her. And she walked in, and now, am I supposed to put every girl on stage? Yes, that's my job. But somebody walks in and tips everybody really good. It's the old school mentality.
Fucking good.
You're being taken care of. You get your ass down that private dance room. You stay down there. When I remember pastry chef coming up to me saying, "You can't do that anymore," and I go, "Why?" I go, "Why would you not that's making the club more money?" And he goes, "I need to showcase her. She's a good looking girl." And I said, I get that, but now you're kind of overall in the big picture doing a disservice. Yeah. And I said, so I could sense that kind of that old school promotion and that old school mentality kind of disappearing. It's like at the casino at the end, the movie Casino, right? When they're tearing down all the old casinos and they're building it up. And they're like, so, some whale comes in the door with $1 million to spend, and some teenager says, "Oh, I need an ID." It's like you could sense that things were changing and not for the better. Right. Yeah. And I was kind of like, I need to start planning an exit strategy. Mm-hmm. So I started thinking of other things that I could be doing, and I could build haunted houses. I could do music. I could do other things. Well, in the meantime, I meet this girl. I met her at Corey Taylor's wedding, actually, which was some fun times. And meet this girl, and we have kids. And I always said the second I have kids, I'm going to get out of this business because I never wanted to explain to the kids what I did. So I start planning my escape, and I'm like, I need to get out of here, but I'm going to make as much money as I can before I go. Money was starting to decline a little bit because they were like, you can't enforce these girls, tip you. And I said, well, what's to stop them from not tipping me? And they said, well, there's nothing you can do. And I'm like, so it used to be if a girl didn't tip me, she'd go on stage and I'd play her the safety dance. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then songs. Exactly. Yeah. I was going to ask you about that.
And I'll get to that. I had some great punishment songs.
I was going to say, let me say, Jesus Christ, man, it's so fucking awesome hearing this history from you. But for this particular episode on the Tip Rail podcast, we got to wrap it up.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Bit. So for everybody that comes on the show, we always ask, like, do you have a tip for anybody in the strip club industry or just in general, whatever you got? Do you have a tip for the listeners out there for it?
Don't do it. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, because the business is not, when you hear these stories, it's not like the way it was. Yeah. Now, very true. Well, honestly, I don't know how it is now. I don't. I haven't been in a strip club in years. I would go. I just am not out late. I mean, I raised 2 kids by myself. So it's
exactly. Being a parent is the actual priority in life, not going back to the club.
I do get out on the weekends. I do have my fun. I still do shows and I still do this stuff, but usually I've been thinking, man, I got to go to Beach Girl sometimes. I will not go to the Lumberyard ever again. My last day was my last day.
I wouldn't give them another motherfucking dollar in my life. Yeah. I would go.
I only go if I can get in for free.
I'll go and I'll give a girl. I'll give a girl I know some money or something along that lines, but not the fucking no way it's gonna float into their hands.
A realistic tip I'll say real quick: if you do it, you have to save and get out clean. Save your money. Save at least 25% and get out clean. When you think that you can keep going, don't. Escape free and clear Take that money and use it to better your life.
Fucking, hey,
good
that's
advice.
a fantastic fucking advice.
Good
Absolutely,
advice.
goddamn lootly. I almost said
Adam's
lumberyard
flustered.
listeners. Oh, I'm starstruck like the first time I ever saw some goddamn titties in my life, man. Fucking Matt, thank you
Next
so much.
episode, we'll get some real beef going.
Don't
and we'll get
fucking
some of
worry.
these
We are
stories.
coming back with part 2 and possibly 3. We don't fucking know. But over here we got Dave, as always.
Yeah, that's me.
And then we got big motherfucking John on the right.
See you in a bit.
Yeah, and then across the way from me, Mr. Matt Nyberg. Thank you so much for being here. And, as always, listeners out there, you can hear us on Apple
Spotify,
fucking Music,
Amazon,
Amazon, every
YouTube.
fucking where, pretty much. Pocket Cast, even. I did that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you so much for joining us. We can't wait to get to fucking next week and hear it again. So, as always,
See you next Tuesday.
You're not cooking. Yeah, you.
Pork chop sandwiches. Oh shit! Get the fuck out of here! What are you doing? Go! Get the fuck out of here, you stupid idiot! Fuck, we're all dead! Get the fuck out! My God, did that smell good?
Detect it. There's no going, and you tell me do things. I done running.
G.I. Joe!